Her body is being pulled through the museum over puzzle-like flooring, where her feet crushes the space between each brick, and the heat billows through like flour in water. Plummeting suddenly in tone, then quickly replenishing, formless colour throbs, and so the room changes its meaning, its sudden intensity, in panic. The parquet timber floor, the whitewashed walls, the columns, the architraves, the zenith glass dome with its steel beams and triangular window panes, all congeal as a shaking cage pressing hard upon a body contorted. Though it is more of an interpretation than a dream, I said. The director opened her eyes, once finishing on the word dream, and I then opened mine. We walked together through the museum. In parallel we were thinking something, or thinking of how to configure it from a feeling. Perhaps we were traipsing further into the narrative, or reorienting the direction, though we might also have been mulling over something menial. I pretended to look at the paintings around me, seeing only the protagonist's eyes. This dustless space, the director said, which was met by an enthusiastic nod and a slow inhaling of these ambiguous words. The next few hours we drifted. Later, in the sparsely populated cafe, in the midst of a conversation about the female form in Baroque painting, I was struck by the fact that she hadn't listened to my interpretation at all. This director, whose words I have loved, and in person I have sought, her ears submerged in water. Her listening did nothing but render my dream into a lesser wavelength, an abstraction where meaning must slip. And just as in my dream, the colour in the cafe and in my hands lost all saturation. I tried to look out of the window, but my gaze was interrupted by a solitary hat upon a table. I couldn't say now, for poor memory and fatigue, what form this hat took, or indeed what type it was, but it was indefinable, which was a great distraction as we continued to speak. Yes, remarkably we were still speaking, or rather, she was speaking. My brief sufficient answers moved towards her accordingly, by interspersing the torrent of advice that I knew I would never apply. Advice like, I would suggest sticking to a select few artists so that it might help your career progression, and write only for X Journal and Y Magazine, but never anywhere else. To which my cordial responses were almost always, yes, absolutely, fantastic, and okay. And all sincerity thus elsewhere. My disappointment led me back to the gallery, to the site upon which I had given my words, to the very painting that had spurred the dream and its subsequent interpretation. Only myself and this painting in this large room. And her colour grew out of my eyes, her spirits in the grey, the cold water of a nothing time.